Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I make curry chicken. It's not Indian chicken, it's not Jamaican chicken or Asian chicken. It's just curry chicken the way I like it. It only takes 30 minutes. You can have it any weeknight. So I'm going to be using tenderloins. There's no bone or no skin on there. It's about 8 or 10 of them in the pack, and this is just for me. I won't be sharing this. I'll be using some jasmine rice. I wish I had basmati, but of course I didn't have any. I've got some smoked paprika to give it a smoky flavor. Black pepper. I'm using island spice curry. Use any curry you like. I love curry, so it doesn't matter, but that's one of my favorites. I'm using some fake seasoning salt because I don't have any Lawry's. And I've got some ginger paste here in the jar that I'll be using. And I have an onion. I've got some chicken broth. I've got some garlic paste and a tube of tomato paste. So I'm going to go ahead and get the chicken washed and cleaned, and then I'll show you how I cut this up using a pair of scissors. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Okay, the chicken's all been washed, and I usually do it with a pair of scissors because you guys know I don't like using a knife. So I'm just cutting this up with scissors and removing any of the ugly pieces that come on the tenderloin, that little white piece that's usually stuck to it from time to time. I'll show you a piece. Yeah, that piece right there. I take that off because I don't want to see that in my food. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these all up because you've seen people cut up chicken, and then I'll come back and show you how I season this. Okay, so it's all been cut into bite-sized pieces. So now I'm going to go ahead and heavily season this with the island spice curry powder. And like I said, it doesn't matter to me what kind of curry powder it is. I'm not really picky. I haven't found a brand that I just have to have. When I love something, my range is broad. I'm not that specific. Kind of like tea. I love tea, so I'm not really picky what kind. And this is seasoning salt. I am a little picky, but they didn't have any Lawry's, so this is like Kroger brand seasoned salt. So I'm going to season this with that. That's the only salt I'll be using. And this is the cracked black pepper. I'm going to put a little bit of cornstarch on here because that's going to help thicken the gravy or the sauce. Because the only thing I'm going to be using for the sauce is onions. And normally I would use an immersion blender and blend that up, and that would help thicken the sauce. But I'll show you a quick way. Well, this extends it. I'm sorry, it makes it longer because we just have to cook it longer to get the onions cooked. So I'm going to go ahead and get this put inside a Ziploc bag and put this in the refrigerator. And anybody that knows me knows I like my food to marinate for at least 4 to 6 hours, preferably 24. So this will go at least 4 because I'm going to be eating this tonight. Okay, everyone, I cut my onion up. It's almost a complete onion, and I cut it in rings because the secret of my recipe is most of the onions I'm using are going to help with the filler to make the sauce thicker. So now I'm going to put just a little bit of cornstarch in here, just to kind of make this so it'll be thick. And just mix this up in here, lightly coated with some cornstarch, because I really don't want coating on here, but this is to thicken the curry part of the gravy that I'm going to be using with my rice. Okay, so you see I've got that all set, got the onions cut up. Turn the camera around, let's get cooking. Okay, I'm using a little bit of canola oil, and I must admit, one of my subscribers hit me up and said canola oil is not healthy. It has GMOs. I apologize. I'm lazy. I have not looked for an alternative. I'm putting my water on for my rice because I'm using jasmine rice. I apologize. It's not basmati. I thought I had some, but I didn't. Cut the wrong eye on. This was on. So I'm going to let this oil get warm, and then I'm going to saute the chicken and then show you the next move because I got a couple tricks to this. I'm not adding any cream or any milk or any coconut milk to this. I'm lactose intolerant, and this is my meal. I don't have to share this with Mark, so I can make it as spicy as I like. So let me put you guys on pause. I'll be right back, just waiting on the oil to heat up. Okay, the oil is warm, so I'm just going to go ahead and start putting the chicken in. It's lightly coated in cornstarch. I'm just going to lightly saute this because it's going to cook more in the curry mix that I have. Well, I should say the curry gravy. So I'm just lightly browning this just to get some color on it. Then I'm going to take it off, and then I'm going to saute the onions in the same pan. Yeah, like I said, you can make this Jamaican, Asian. It requires a lot more work, but this is a quick recipe for me. I love curry, any kind of curry. I don't care how you cook it and what kind of meat you use. I just like the flavor of the sauce and the spices. And as you see, this is cooking very quickly because it's white meat chicken. I'm just getting a little color on it because, like I said, it's going to cook. I don't really want it tough, but it's going to cook quite a bit in the gravy mixture. So I'm going to go ahead, cut my eye down, and take the chicken out. It's got some color on it. I know it's not quite cooked through at all. It's just got a little bit of color because I don't want the chicken to be tough. That's the longest part of this cheater recipe. You can make these much quicker, but you would have to use more of a thickener. And I'm going to use, or some people will, the Jamaicans use potatoes to thicken theirs because it does thicken the sauce. I am using onions. I'm going to cook the onions to death. That's the part of my recipe. That's the secret. I have a lot of onions, and I'm going to cook the majority of them down to nothing. That way, it'll help thicken the sauce. So I'm going to add the onions in. And normally I would have added a whole entire onion, but for the sake of simplicity, I just added half of that onion you saw. And I want this to cook down quite a bit. I'm going to add quite a bit more curry seasoning to this. And another bad move is when you shake stuff over heat, it does make it harder to get out because it makes the this moist underneath from the steam. And I like to season on every level, so that's why I'm seasoning the onions and curry too. I'm just sauteing the onions, and I want these onions to get really, really cooked, so I'm going to put you guys on pause and let these go for a while. I'm not going to brown them, but I want them really, really cooked. Okay, everyone, my onions are pretty much softened. I've got them cooked down quite a bit. So here is where I'm going to add just a tiny bit of ginger. You know, ginger can add heat, so it's just a little bit of ginger. I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste for color. And some garlic paste for flavor. Put that in. This doesn't have enough curry. One thing about curry and Indian spices, they need to be warmed in oil a little bit to get the full flavor. So that's the main reason I'm doing this. Because I did put curry on the chicken. But see, now it's starting to pick up really good color. So this is what I do now. I add a lot of chicken broth here because I want these onions to cook down and be really, really soft. So I guess I'm adding about 2 cups to that. And then I'm going to bring the temperature up high, and I'm going to let this saute for a good 15-20 minutes because I want most of the onions to pretty much disappear and become part of the sauce. So let me put you guys on pause. Oh yeah, and by the way, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I upload 2 videos a week, an inspirational quote with each one, a controversial joke. I got a good one for you today. It's short and cute. My water's boiling. I'm going to drop my rice in the water, and because it doesn't matter if the rice is ready ahead of time, I'm going to eat later. So I'm going to crank this up on high, and as you see, I've got the chicken broth in there, and I want this to cook for quite a while, so it'll pretty much be, you won't see the onion. So I'm going to put you on pause. I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and add the entire container of the chicken broth, because my secret to my recipe is this is the hardest part. This has to cook a good 30-45 minutes. I want the onions to be super soft to where they're almost like mush. That'll help also thicken the gravy without having to add. I'm going to add a little cornstarch, but without making it real floury or cornstarchy. So as you see, the onions are cooking, but they're not quite soft as I like them. So I'm going to put you back on pause, come back, and we'll put this together, and I'll show you how I cook it. Okay, everyone, my rice is finished cooking. Now I'm going to go ahead. This has been cooking about 40 minutes. Now the easiest way to do this would be to use an immersion blender and grind up the onions, but I'm not going to do that. And I don't want this chicken to be tough, so that's why I cooked the onions for such a long time in just the broth. And now I'm going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch and water just to thicken this up, because I'm not using the immersion blender to make the onions part of the gravy. Jamaicans normally, they add a lot of potatoes to this and then overcook the potatoes, and then they smash down and they make it really, really thick. So with the cornstarch in here, you want to bring this back up to a boil. That activates the cornstarch, and that'll get this really thick. I like onions, so if you don't like a lot of onions, don't put a lot of onions in here. The recipe I was taught by my girlfriend's mom to use a whole onion, but like I said, you have to cook it much longer, and this is my quick version. And like I said, you definitely want to use an immersion blender if you want to make it any quicker. And you just grind up the onions, and that becomes part of the gravy. So I'm going to put you guys on pause, let this simmer for 15 minutes, turn the camera around to tell you guys my joke. Oh, I forgot, you guys, I want to add a little pinch of smoked paprika just to give it a little smoky flavor. Okay, so it's still cooking. It's not quite thick enough, so we're going to let this continue cooking, and I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, it's done. You see how thick it is. I've got it half off the eye. It's nice and thick like I like it. I like my curry sauces thick. If you don't like it this thick, then don't cook it as long. This took about 20 minutes on high, and I keep scraping the bottom because you definitely don't want it to stick, because I like a lot of sauce or gravy with my food. So let me turn everything around, tell you guys my joke, and end this video. Okay guys, there it is, my final product. This is curry chicken, and like I said, it's not Jamaican curry, Asian curry, or Indian curry. It's Jen's, I guess. Quick, fast, 1 hour chicken curry. So let me tell you my joke. This woman was at home alone. There was a knock at the door. So she opens it, and the guy says, "Do you have a vagina?" She slams the door in disgust. So the next day, around the same time, same thing, as a knock at the door. She looks out, it's the same guy. She says, "What do you want?" He says, "Do you have a vagina?" She didn't respond. She goes back, and she just turns around and goes back and sits down. So that evening, her husband comes home, and she proceeds to tell him what happened. He said, "Well, I'm going to call in sick tomorrow, and I'm going to be home when he comes, and we'll see what happens." So the guy knocks at the door, and her husband whispers to her, "I'm hide behind the door. Look and see if it's him." And she looks and sees it's him. She opens the door, and the man once again says, "Do you have a vagina?" She said, "Yes, I do." He said, "Well, tell your husband to spend time with your vagina and leave my wife's vagina alone." That sucks. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this video. I've got more giveaways and a lot of surprises coming in the future. So thanks for watching, and God bless.